Relationship advice from a superhero movie? Forget box office. Ever felt like you and your partner are on different planets? You're a hero, ready to save the world, while they're just trying to get a handful of popcorn. We get it. We've been there.
And here we have a fantastic couple who are total opposites, but are
But
doing their best.
what can these blockbuster relationships actually teach us about our own lives?
Husband and wife Reed and Sue Richards.
Nothing's going to change.
Reed
In
and
this
Sue.
podcast, we're diving into 6 love lessons learned from watching this summer's biggest blockbusters. What we can learn from the comic book's greatest couples, from their epic clashes to their surprisingly relatable strengths. Let's go.
Blockbuster Love. 6 relationship hacks from the movies.
Me and T went out on a date night.
Date night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
went on a date night.
We don't really get many of them, do we?
So we went to the movies and we watched the film. We watched actually 2 movies.
2 big
blockbusters. We went to watch Superman. Superman.
Supergirl.
Yeah, or Superman.
Yeah. Well, I wonder
What, a girl?
I wonder what the other movie was.
Oh, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four!
Oh, we went to watch Fantastic Four as well. And both movies, by the way, amazing. I gave it
Thumbs up.
9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You gave it?
Yeah, similar. Don't listen to the critics. Don't listen to the Doom YouTubers.
No.
And don't watch the box office. We're not into that.
Exactly, we're not.
Both movies were amazing.
But what I did notice from Superman and the Fantastic Four, of course, was the relationships popped up.
Quite a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit of relationships between Lois and Clark, and then you've got Reed Richards and Sue Storm. I was like, oh, maybe we could do like
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, not at all. I didn't think about
Especially how much it was sort of at the centre of the whole movies. It wasn't just like Superman's got a girlfriend and Reed and Sue are married. Their relationships were at the crux of everything that was going on in the movies, and it caught us by surprise, didn't it? Especially you.
Yeah, because I thought, oh, if we could talk about it. There's something we could talk about here. We can do a video about it, do a deep dive. I was thinking, yeah, let's do break some stuff down, give some value to you. So yeah. But I think the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go to Superman. And we're going to focus on Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Special couple. A great couple. They're supposed to be dating for 3 months, apparently. What? Yeah, that's what.
Is it? 3 months?
Yeah, I was watching
Okay.
something. Yeah, so the film timeline is 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a background scene with James Gunn behind the scenes, saying they're supposed to be 3 months or so.
So he's been known as Superman for about 3 years in the movie. But yeah, that's true. You are correct.
Yeah,
There's a
see?
new relationship. We enter into it that they're already in a relationship and it's fairly new. So set the scene so we're obviously going to look at certain scenes from the movies where they explore their relationships and dynamics. And that's where Jay was saying that we're going to then explore what sort of nuggets we can gain from these surprising relationship insights from comic book movies and match it with some of our personal experiences. And then, we have a chat with you and see how we go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, there was a scene in specific I want to do a deep dive in was the interview scene between Clark and Lois when they had an interview. She was actually interviewing Clark as Superman.
Yeah.
So sitting in her living room and she said, okay, let me interview Superman. And they kind of started to do back and forths, and he was like, he's this humanitarian and she's this strong-headed woman that has a mind of her own. And she's starting to understand him, but they become sort of they sort of have this conflict and warring with each other. I'm not sure. It's they're not really sure how to deal with each other's differences.
They're very different, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very different.
He's very much he's very naive. He wants to save everyone. He wants to be the hero, where she is thinking about, as a journalist, they're a lot more aware of how the world really works outside of idealism.
Yeah. So that is a big problem. Conflict is going to happen, obviously, in any relationship. You can't run away from conflict.
Even if you're superhuman, fly, powers, and you're a winning journalist like Lois, you're going to have problems in your relationship.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think in the scene, if you remember, he'd just saved a nation from a major conflict. And obviously, when I get into it, there was some sort of allusions to what's going on in the real world in the Middle East. And he's got into hot waters for doing so. So then Lois is like, so he can't understand, like, why they persecute me? Why they got a problem with me saving people? That's what I do, duh. That's why I wear the cape.
Yeah, because he's there to save the world. He's Superman, of course. But yeah, this is spoiler alert. By the way.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Spoiler.
you should have all kind of watched the movie by now.
We don't all have date nights. Maybe they're waiting for their date night. So there's going to be
soon.
spoilers. We're going to try, but not too many spoilers.
I mean, I'm sort of the one that sometimes spoil things, so maybe I'll try and dial it in a bit.
Wind it in. But there is a major conflict that Superman stops. Lois is trying to get him to realize that he overstepped his mark because the whole geopolitics thing. But I think the main thing that sets up the conflict in the movie, but it also sets up the differences on their relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're very, very different.
They are very, very different. But you can see in the movie that they're trying to find their way of meeting each other in the middle in some way, shape, or form. But from what I picked up from it, is Lois seems to kind of like, because she's so strong-headed and a bit
Strong,
stubborn.
independent woman.
And Clark is very much like, yes, I can, but he's trying to understand her as well. It's a new relationship. It's 3 months into it. So obviously it's going to take a bit of time, isn't it?
But also, he is fundamentally a very well-intended and naive hero.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just that they've been together a short time.
Yeah.
I think it's that they are very much, they've been who they are a long time.
Yeah.
But the relationship is new. And I think that's something in terms of relationships in the real world now.
Got together really bit more, not really, really young, but I was in my I was like 19.
Late teens
I
and
was
then
19, yeah, 19,
20,
you were 21. So yeah, we'll have having to navigate so many things along the way. For instance, when you're 19, 21, it's like a baby. You're trying to
Look
work
back.
this whole relationship thing out and knowing how to go. You're two different people coming together. You've got differences of opinions, different, not necessarily values. I'd like to know our values are the same. We're both Christian, we believe in God, all that stuff. But it's coming from different homes, different backgrounds.
Yeah, but the reason I bring that up that we're younger is that we were still young enough to be malleable. We could be molded. Whereas we know people have gotten together in their 40s and, I mean, for their relationships working, but at that age, I can imagine it can be difficult to get together when you're much older. The longer you've been an adult, living an independent life, you're set in your ways, aren't you? And you have a certain way of doing things. So sometimes, you've been who you are a long time and the person's been who they are a long time. And you've got to figure out how to be together with very different.
Yeah, that's why I'm actually so glad that we got together really young, because if we got together now, me at my age and your age, which I'm not going to say, by the way, I think that would have been harder because people are more set in their ways when they're older. They're used to being single for so long, unless you're with someone before, of course. But you're not going to want to try and transition to someone else's way of doing things. As you said, it's more malleable when you get together with someone young.
Yeah. And I think with the example of Superman and Lois, they are deliberately, I mean, they've been written in comics to be very, very different, but the films have always played that. Even the late Christopher Reeve's portrayal and the late Margot Kidder, there was a difference, but there was an obvious chemistry. In those classic movies, it emphasized more of the chemistry and Lois almost kind of being doe-eyed, chasing after Superman and being a bit besotted with him. Where in this movie, it's a bit more realistic in that it seems less like, unless they got over that quickly, it seems less that she's besotted with him. She'll call him out. Like in the interview scene, she literally calls him out on being like not considering all the information.
Well, yeah, I guess you could think about the Superman before with the late Christopher Reeve. It's like, that was so old. And I think now in modern times, it's just different. It just goes to show how women have come now.
Yeah.
The way modern women know what they want, maybe single, as we said, single for a long time, don't need a man sort of thing. So it's that sort of stance maybe she's coming from as well.
That's a good point you make, actually, because the relationship dynamics in those movies, it was the late 70s, early 80s. Lois was this hard-nosed journalist, Pulitzer Prize winning, fearless, just went after the story. But she went all googly-eyed when it came to Superman, which was a little bit, I mean, I can understand if somebody, the ultimate heartthrob from another planet with superpowers, I can understand it a bit. But I think what's interesting in this movie is that she's not besotted with Kal-El or Superman. But in terms of different perspectives, I mean, is it fair to say that we are different?
We're very different. I would say so. I would say we're very
Yeah.
different. Not very different. And it's one of those things where you're like, it makes you think, do we stay together? How are we going to navigate this? Especially in the early days. Like, for
Yeah.
example, you're the extrovert. I was always the introvert. Now I'm a bit more, it's kind of in the middle. I've calmed
Yeah.
myself a lot
We
more.
call it like an ambivert.
Is it a word though? That's the thing.
Ambivert.
It's that thing where, okay, how do we navigate that? It's either that or you break up. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're too different. Then we're going to break up then. It's not going to work out. So we've had to learn how to deal with each other's differences.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really like the differences.
You didn't?
I didn't like the fact that we were so different at first, because I was like, why couldn't you be a bit more like me? Why couldn't you, think the way I think, do things the way I do it? Because I was quite, I mean, I'm talking about early years, because I was kind of like, I didn't really realize, I didn't read the memo. Besides the difference between I'm a man and you're a woman, and those differences, then on top of that, the personality trait differences, I think some of our earliest conflicts, some of our earliest big conflicts was over the fact that we had a very different worldview. I think I like to think broader and bigger, and I think you like to think a bit more local and practical.
But you are like the visionary, the one that sees that 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
You're a big picture guy.
But at the same time, like, I miss the details because I'm not, there's a lot of practical things that I've missed and you've been able to pick up on.
Yeah.
But can you think of any major significant conflict we've had? Because we've been married 21 years, together 24, thereabouts. So can you think of any particular relationship situation where we really clashed? Like when I invaded a foreign country and saved the day and flew out and bounced, anything like that?
No, it's nothing like that. The country.
No? Oh,
No.
okay.
No.
Who knew
It was
that?
more in terms of it wasn't a personal
Conflict.
It was
linked to
no
a sort
more
of
like
conflict.
how I thought, my mindset and stuff like that. We was very different, obviously very different. But my mindset was like, I always cared what people thought and think and would say. Like, people were quite judgmental sometimes, like growing up in churches, in the specific church I used to go to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it followed me through adulthood.
Yeah.
And that affected everything. And for you weren't like that. You were the total opposite. He was like, I don't care what people think and say.
Yeah. I mean, I became a Christian as a teenager, so I know the way church can be a little bit judgy at times, a little bit facade. But majority of my upbringing to my early teens was non-Christian. And not that non-Christians can't judge, but I didn't have that sort of environment where it was like, be careful what you say, be careful what you do. Oh, what will sister so-and-so think, brother so-and-so think? And it was also the fact that you're in amongst a lot of elderly people in church.
Yeah. In fact, the only downside of being raised with a lot of older people around my grandparents' generation was the obvious reason that they were very negative. Very negative, quite judgy. They looked on the appearance, what people wear and stuff like that, rather than looking at beyond that, which is not fair.
So then I remember a lot of that rubbed off on you.
Yeah, it did.
Because even though we were young, you had some mindsets and worldviews that were like, are you like 65? Not weird, but just very old and
very
judgy.
Old, yeah. And obviously, that's normal to carry on through adulthood, but there's some things you just have to
drop it off.
Whereas you, my friend, was like, you didn't care.
So that would manifest in things like, oh, we can't watch that because that's not Christian. Yeah, there were times.
The beginning, though, the early...
We're talking about early days. Like, there were times when you would be very sensitive to certain things and you would even judge me. You'd be kind of like saying, oh, you should be doing that. I'm not sure about that.
Like, oh, I'm not sure about this. You must have been like, she looks young, but she's old inside.
Yeah, young and pretty on the outside, old and super conservative on the inside.
Oh, very conservative. I was super conservative back in the day.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
so conservative now.
Well,
I've
yeah.
loosened up because of this. You're less conservative.
And that's an example where, to be honest, I didn't think it was always going to last. And I think that happens because if you see the world very differently, then it's hard to walk in the same direction, because it's like we'd argue a lot, sometimes over very silly things. And it got to the point where,
Yeah.
let's call the whole thing off. There was a lot of discussion of that. So I think
Yeah.
with worldviews, my advice would be that you have to determine if it's that deep, because if it's really fundamentally deep, then maybe it is a good idea to realize that if it is major fundamental issues, then it probably is right to sever it and go different ways. If it was like you've got different morals or different,
Oh yeah, that's serious.
you know.
But in
beliefs.
fact, you maybe shouldn't be with that person in the first place if you've got different values anyway. Because if you start dating that person, you think straight away you're gonna see through them, aren't you? Say for instance, one's one religion, one's another.
Yeah,
It's gonna
a little
be
bit
a Christian
difficult.
and be with a Muslim. I mean, some people do the whole conversion thing, but then that makes it tricky when you have kids as well. Is some of your kids gonna be half? Is it half and half? Is it
Yeah.
gonna be following?
Let's not beat around the bush.
So, yeah.
We don't believe it.
Yeah, we don't.
Because we don't believe in
that.
those worldview. That's a line to cross.
So
You know, because if you fundamentally are if you're very liberal and casual, like you're, say, Christian in name only, or Muslim in name only, Jew or Hindu in name only, cool. But if you're super devout, if you really look at your teachings, they're not necessarily the same. And there's confusion in your relationship, then there's confusion in your household, then there's confusion with your kids. So I think in that type of
Definitely.
conflict you don't need, because there's enough micro conflicts between two, being a man and a woman joined together as it is, let alone these massive macro point of view changes.
yeah. So let's just say my take home to you from this topic would be that just get together in terms of your differences, know your differences, have that conversation. Don't run away from the differences, and know that it can work even though you're different.
Yeah.
You may have different ways of doing things, different thinking, but who knows? If you work at it,
You never know.
you never know.
And I think I would like to challenge you and make you think about it, like, work out, is it that deep? The difference is, after a while, if the differences are very, very severe, they could make you reflect and think, actually, is this where I want to be? Is this relationship healthy? Is it going anywhere? Like, I want kids, she doesn't. She wants kids, I don't. Those sort of things. I want to go this way in my life, you want to go that way. There's certain conflicts that might come as a blessing because they stop you wasting time being in a situation longer or than you should. I think with obviously with Lois and Clark, they're meant for each other. They've been written together. They've been together almost 100 years in print and on the big screen, all in popular culture. But joking aside, you need to look at the fundamentals. You can be different.
There's
Because
nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
you would have grown up in a different household, different family, different experiences, but it's whether they're fundamental differences. And I think Lois has very cold feet after the conflict, didn't she?
Yeah, I remember that scene where Clark was about to leave the apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and she said to Clark, she goes, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
So, because they are dramatically different.
So even
he's
yeah.
Superman.
So even Superman could get dumped.
Yeah. Imagine.
Wow. What
Kal-El.
hope to the rest of us, brothers, if even Superman could be brushed off
Goodness.
so easily. Yeah.
But I
Imagine
think,
upgrade.
I just think embrace the differences and work it through. Because I think these days people are just such in a rush to say, call it quits. We live
Mhm.
in a very disposable society when it comes to relationships. Some people in relationships just run away from it rather than getting maybe counseling or something, or just having that sit down conversation and try to understand each other. Meet in the middle.
Yeah. So you could do a list of things and think, okay, what are we disagreeing over? And I don't trust couples that say, we never argue. we've been together almost 25 years and we've argued plenty. The idea that if you don't argue is a good thing, I don't know what that's about. Because
They're lying.
Yeah, and you know, those people never an argument, and then down the line they divorce because that one argument was so major that they never practiced arguing before. So they're like, what do I do? We're arguing. Oh, let's divorce.
Yeah, they're lying. I never believe people when they say that
They
never
lie.
argued, because we've argued so times. And I'll be honest and open and transparent. We've argued loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still do. Still do all the time.
I mean, the arguments change. Intensity, the nature, the longevity. Where arguments were epic, now they're more like annoyances.
Is it from you or me?
Well, I'm not going to throw you under the bus.
You always say that.
Don't throw me under the bus.
What would be the worst thing that can happen? You threw me under the bus.
Yeah.
Look good, would it?
No, be like Superman. Oh, lifting it up.
no.
Oh, I'll save you. So definitely think about the perspective of those things. It's not a problem that you're different. It's not a problem that one of you might be more of an idealist and the other is a realist. It's not a problem that one of you is an extrovert and the other is introvert. It's not a problem if you might see things a bit more through rose-tinted glasses and the other is very cynical. There's obviously extremes, and the movie has a bit of an extreme situation, but ultimately, do you have the same values? Different personalities and perspectives can coexist as long as you have the same values, the same direction of life, the same morals, the same integrity. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely, because when it comes to values, that's not going to work. You've got different values at all. You wouldn't even be able to start a relationship if you had different values, because I think that should be like a sit-down conversation before you even enter a relationship anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like to swing. I'm into open relationships. I want to know.
Or I don't want kids, all those things. Those important things to be discussed before you go into a relationship. Because if you're already into the relationship and then those things come out, it's just going to be make or break, isn't it?
People think they can change people, can't they, in a relationship?
You can't change. I can't change you. You can't change me. People think that you mustn't. You mustn't. So yeah, that was we were talking about the values, and it's best to be with someone who shares the same values with you, because that's the only way it's going to work. If you don't, then I don't know.
That was one long scene, and that was just a scene, but let's move on.
So the next scene in the Superman movie that we saw was Superman and Lois talking by the window. And
you know, it was that whole scene where you've got...
on his boot, wasn't it?
It's
putting on his red.
Oh boy, his parents.
I wish I could have those boots.
Clark, they were like, yeehaw! Never seen Parama Kent so country and redneck before, isn't it?
I know, they're much older, weren't they?
Yeah.
It's interesting how
What, Kevin Costner and Diane Lane? I've cleaned your boots.
That's an interesting one. He's getting ready, putting on his boots, and they were having a discussion.
Because it was outside the window. Yeah. Everything's kicking off. They had that big argument and things were a bit funny between them. I think they're reconciling in this scene, and Lois is worried about him because he's about to go into further conflict. Yeah. And I think it's a heart-to-heart, almost kind of brushing or acknowledging where there was conflict in that scene we just mentioned, and realising that, yeah, they do love each other. There is a lot of affection there, and there's a bit more understanding between the characters.
Absolutely. And I think that with that scene, it was nice to see, because she certainly started to come to an understanding towards Clark. And then she wanted to be supportive of him and caring. She showed a real caring side towards him and being like, okay, this is hard for me right now, but you got to go and do what you got to do. Save the world and save the people. But that's out of character for her, because she's not usually, I mean, he's a humanitarian.
She's humanitarian as well.
Yeah,
it's just
but shown in different ways.
Yes, his thing is all about sacrifice and doing the most. I wouldn't say Lois is against that, but she's human and she's got no powers. Yeah. So her perspective is always going to be more grounded, where he's got that kind of like, you know, I'm a hero. And with Zack Snyder movie, it was like the Messiah complex. I'm the savior. So there's obviously going to be a different perspective on things. But, you know, do you feel like she came around to thinking that they're more compatible?
I say so. Yeah, I definitely know so. Which I won't mention, it would be another scene take, but yeah, she definitely warmed up to him. For sure. Because she's like, well, he's Superman. He's Clark Kent Superman to her at the same time. It's almost like seeing him as two people.
Yeah.
And then she's just got to be like, you know what? This is who he is. I can't change him. He
Yeah.
can't change her. That's who we are. We're together. We love each other. And they obviously love each other. You can see that in the movie.
Yeah.
And they got such strong chemistry. Chemistry is brilliant between them both.
Yeah, to the point
Very
where,
strong. You just think they're a real couple in real life.
well, to the point where there was a recent comment on their chemistry where I think there was a scene, a behind the scenes shot of David Cornswear, who plays Superman, and Rachel, was it Rachel McCullough, we'll put it on the screen. Sorry, Rachel, who plays Lois Lane, where their scene had cut and she gives him an extra peck on the lips after the scene cuts in a playful way, but it shows their chemistry. And someone put on social media, you know, remember, this is a married woman, that she's married to somebody else.
Oh, is she actually married?
Yeah, apparently,
It's
yeah.
so funny you say that because I watched an interview with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
He's really hot, by the way. Lovely though, but yeah, he's hot.
Remember,
anyway.
you're married too.
Yeah, no. I was just
like-
saying, he's hot. Anyway,
My days.
swiftly moving on, forget I said that.
Nah, it's on.
I know
Forget you
you
said it. It's on camera. Witnesses could use it in a court of law.
But the interview between them,
Mm-hmm.
like,
How do I compete with Superman?
it must have been like a press junket or something.
Yeah.
The chemistry was real between them. The chemistry was that you'd think they're a real couple to you. They were sitting quite close. They were, you know, even the way they looked at each other, their body language.
How
It's like,
close.
wow.
All close.
Sure they, like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yeah, do a bit.
They've got really great chemistry. It's really strong between them.
Similar to Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. More from that later in different film franchise. I think we talked about another video where I did some acting. I'm on and off with the acting, to be honest, but some acting. And I never was in a scene where I'm in a romantic scene with a woman, but I do remember you not being comfortable with the idea, not the reality, even the
This is-
idea. What were your thoughts?
Am I thinking the scenario that...
No, but just in general, what you just said about...
Oh, in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never ever feel comfortable with you on screen with someone else. Never.
But I'm an actor.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you look at, there's a track record, what Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt is a big
Mm-hmm.
example,
Mm-hmm.
a huge example
Mm-hmm.
of that happening. Like, they actually became a real couple when she broke up home.
Yeah.
No, that's not good.
It's not good.
Can you imagine that all of a sudden you fall in love with someone else? And then you leave
Somebody
Jay.
else's
Bye,
guy.
bye, Jay.
Bye,
I found someone better than you.
Upgrade.
Yeah, I won't be happy with that.
Well, no. I mean,
And I won't feel comfortable with it. And can you imagine me sitting down watching a movie that you got romantic scenes with the per person? So
Mm.
I won't be watching that movie. I really wouldn't.
well,
I won't watch
if I'd ran off with my co-lead actress, then
Oh.
I can't imagine you then wanting to watch the movie that we were romantically involved with, and I ran off with her.
No,
That's kind of like,
no,
duh.
well, yeah. Cause
I don't think Jennifer Aniston says,
like-
let me rent out Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
no. So you wouldn't be, if you were in that situation, I'd say, no, turn down that role.
Turn it off, turn it
Turn
on.
it off. Then you say, oh, yeah, this is what they're offering me for money. No,
This is what they're offering me, 10 million. All right, yeah,
No,
I can live with it.
no.
Don't worry
turn
about
it
it.
down.
Yeah, it's all right, T. Just do it. I'm all right. So change my mind, you know. Change of heart. It's okay. I'll just cover my eyes and see no evil, hear no evil. But spend 10 million bucks.
No.
Oh, yes.
No, I think that just won't work.
It'd be interesting. But my thing with that is, you know, in terms of back on track, the reconciliation, the characters getting the same page. And I think we've had that, like when we mentioned about, there was an example where we had a big falling out over money and sort of questionable spending, and that almost completely apart. And it
Yeah, that's
took
good.
a lot of discussion and forgiveness, because that's important, forgiveness in a relationship. And we reconciled, and then we realized, well, actually, we had that heart to heart, a bit like they do in the movie. There's a heart to heart, and realizing that, okay, And some of that problem in that situation stemmed from our different perspectives, coming from maybe a security, a fear background of, oh no, what's going to happen? Let me do this and be reckless because whatever. Maybe one is a bit more conservative and thrift.
Yeah,
one is a little more frivolous.
You're more like wanting to hold on to stuff. And I'm like, well, there's going to be more anyway. And you're like, no, like, you've got to be sensible here. And I'm like, you know, Ma, just spend. But I've always been a spender anyway, to be honest, since I was younger. So that's followed me through adulthood. I just spend and then more comes. Spend.
Spend, but no more comes. Shaking it. Where is it? It's empty.
No. Yeah, so that situation was actually very, very serious. I can remember it like it was yesterday. That situation, so serious. That, like, you never ever do that. Like, I would never ever do that again. I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that, to spend behind the other person's back.
That's a whole nother video. But it is an example of different worldview, different perspective, being in conflict at loggerheads, and then the fallout and the aftermath. But like in this scene, the reconciliation, because ultimately they had to be on the same page because there was bigger things, bigger villains to fight. In our situation, the bigger villain to fight was the enemy of our future. The biggest fight was for our future. So you kind of think, you know what? This situation can either destroy us or we team up together and brush things aside, not talk about it, but brush it and move forward. And I love that, you know, when it's a life and death situation, like in that scene, obviously it's heightened, it's a blockbuster movie. When there's a sort of a life and death scenario, suddenly you look at things differently and be like, does it really matter? Or not, it matters. Is this strong enough to end it all? And in that, and it clearly wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you put your cards out like that, you got to think, is this a minor thing or a major thing? Is this something that you can actually mop up the mess? You can get through it. Might take a while. Might take a while for you to speak to the person again after being upset with them after this big fallout. Or is it that serious? It's like, game over, man. Like, this can't be sorted out.
Hudson and Alien.
Like, for example...
Game over, man! Game over!
You had an affair or something, do you know what I mean? It went further than that.
Yeah.
That's like boundary, like, that's no going, kind of going back there.
Yeah.
It's kind of
no going back, really.
Went away. And that's a major one. Yeah. I mean, people do take people back, don't they, after affairs, but it's one that could take months.
Yes, tricky one, that one.
So there's always time for like reconciliation over conflict. Anything can be well, not everything can be resolved.
Most things can be resolved.
Most things, but they're like the minor things, or maybe the minor to sort of majory things. That's what it is. Like an affair, that's a serious situation. Baby came up with it, that's a serious situation. Do you know what I mean? That's like probably divorce or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's serious.
And just because we want to move on a bit quickly, I think the third scene in Superman 2025 that I think really flows out of this reconciliation is that, you know, realization that Lois will do anything for Clark, aka Superman.
I love it when this specific scene now is when Lois went to rescue Clark, when Lex took her to the artificial... You built an artificial pocket universe, and he was stuck there.
Prison, and dumped him in there.
Oh my gosh, how on earth is he going to get out of this? Like, literally, all his powers and everything drained out of him.
Yep.
He's away from the sun and the darkness, and Superman needs the sunshine.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of kryptonite, you know, hanging around him. That obviously, you know, Superman don't mix too well. They don't mix too good.
Not at all. But for Lois to be like, I've got to go and get my man. I've got to go and rescue him. I've got to do this. That takes a lot of, you know, determination for her to want to go and save her man.
It was a great scene. So she teams up with the Justice Gang. Well, not all of them. A key member, key member of the Justice Gang, after she appeals to all of them and some of them brush her. And they go and figure out how to get back and to rescue him. So it's quite a full-on scene. And she also does a bit of heroics rescuing Daily Planet with the vehicle that Mr. Terrific gives her at one point quite comedically. It shows I mean, some of the problems with Lois is in some movies she's just a damsel in distress in terms of when it comes to the physical part of the movie. Even Amy Adams in Zack Snyder's movie, she had things to do, but still kind of was, oh, she's got to wait for us to rescue her because she's and she was used as a dangling carrot for Superman. Oh, you know, what's Superman going to do? I can control him because I can trouble Lois. Where I think with this one, it was quite cool to see, as a superhero comic movie fan, Lois having something to do other than get saved. But then on a romantic sort of relationship level, what we're talking about, that was a good metaphor for her being, even she can't be equal to her partner in terms of power. She's got no power. She's mortal. But her determination to have his back, like the ultimate Bonnie and Clyde energy. I love that. I've got your back energy.
That's so important.
Love that.
Love that. And that's important to have your other person's back. She really, like Lois Lane, really did. You really did see that in the movie, how she did that.
Yeah.
She just went over, above and beyond for her to travel there with Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
And go and get him. That's important in life as well, because it's like I can think of a personal experience, and I'm being open and transparent here, where actually I didn't have your back. You know, the times when you wanted to leave a certain job, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I literally had no idea what I wanted to do with like work and career and stuff like that. And you were like, almost like crying out for help. But I hate this job. You're saying I don't like it anymore. I need to leave. It's painful for me. I'm like, what the heck? I don't know what to do. What I want to do. Been at home for a long time with the kids. Because obviously I was a stay-at-home mum for a while, looking after the children. And now I'm
Which is work, by the way.
Yeah,
that is hard work. It is a job in
but
itself.
it's not work where you're bringing in money, is it? You don't get paid for look after your own kids at home. Do you know what I mean? But it was a place where I actually didn't have your back. And that's serious. And that really hurt you a lot. And that took a while for us to navigate through that situation, because that was probably one of the turning points in our marriage, where it's like you felt a bit broken as well. I felt a bit broken, you felt a bit broken, because obviously you looking at me to sort of do something about it, please help me, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where I think we live and learn and we go through the experience, and I could have communicated that more. I think I'd learned to be a martyr, you know, carrying my cross and thinking I meant to just suffer. And I think for mental health, look, we're all a lot more aware of mental health these days, hopefully in 2025, both an individual and in a relationship, that, you know, my wife wasn't responsible 100% for my well-being and mental health, as I'm not 100% for hers. We do contribute to it. We can definitely contribute negatively to each other by either putting problems on each other, dumping on each other, or neglecting to care about each other's feelings and not showing up for each other. That's in every relationship. But we live and learn. I think understanding how mental health in a relationship can go. And I think what was really cool about the Lois coming through for her boy Clark, Kyle, is that she's mortal. But it's like, but nothing was going to deter or stop her from getting into the mix-up. She was going to do whatever it took.
It's also
to
as well, can you
save
imagine,
her
like
man.
her going to go and rescue Clark, she's putting herself at a risk as well, danger.
Yeah.
Because even the people that were around, it's not, it was a dangerous situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if she was going with Mr. Terrific, and he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Almost stole the movie.
Yeah,
as they say.
he did actually.
But it's that ride or die energy, which I think that's the difference between a casual relationship where you don't really mean nothing to each other and a serious committed relationship where you will do anything for each other. It's like, I remember when we were going out and you lived in an area near Brixton that was quite rough, and we'd walk the street and men would catcall to you. Like not one or two, but a group of men, mean looking guys would sort of like, not catcall, but look. And I'd be with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it going to be like that Arrested Development song, you know, I'm everyday people, you know, when he in the video and the song, a guy touches the main singer's girlfriend, and he says, and you get into an altercation saying, "You're going to have to kill me. I don't care if there's 5-1. That's how I'm going out there." And I guess that's how I'm exiting the world, because I wouldn't be able to not protect and defend the woman I love, even if it's a whole army of men. And I think that's the reality of the ride or die situation, that if you genuinely love someone,
Do anything for them.
you're in their corner. You'll
above and beyond.
protect them. You ain't going to let anything, not on my watch. No. I don't have powers charged by the sun and Kryptonian blood, but I'm not going to let any harm come towards those I love. And I'm just standing there and not doing nothing. It's not going to happen. So, and I think Lois had that energy, and I salute her. She's a great journalist, Pulitzer Prize winner, and a hero who don't need saving all the time. Who knew, after so many TV shows, comics and movies, that Lois could actually save Superman? It's all woke, Jay. It's woke. Everything's woke.
Remember the Dean Cain? Did you watch that show?
Yeah, The Adventures of Lois and Clark.
What's her name? Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher. I think Dean Cain is saying, woke! See, Superman is woke. All right.
Yeah, so I think for that, for take home for you, for anyone watching, is that just have your person's back. Don't have your person's back. I mean, I've learned my lesson from that one, but have your person's back. Because remember, in a relationship, it's not, you can't focus on yourself. It's about focusing on that other person. And that's what relationship is about. It's not being selfish.
Yeah.
Think about them all the time. Thinking about what's best for them and focusing on them rather than yourself. Remember, you're not single, you're in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We are TJ Podcast, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and so many of the other platforms. And also, we are also on TikTok. So check us out. In fact, on the audio platforms, you can not just listen to us, but now you can see our faces. Yeah. So you can see my pretty face and this one's handsome face.
Beauty and the Beast. See you over there. In the YouTube, please give us comments, send us messages, DM us. Let us know what relationship topics that you want us to talk about, and we'll get into it. We're not experts, but we have been together a long time. So engage with us, and we'll share our nuggets, and hopefully we can all learn together. How about that?
Yeah.
Back to the movies. Popcorn ready.
Okay.
Film number 2.
So we're going to go into film number 2 now. And next film we're going to talk about is The Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, I am a big fan of Fantastic Four.
Definitely a bigger fan of Fantastic Four than Superman.
Superman, he's like the alpha of all superheroes, comic books. But Fantastic Four has been one of my favourites since I was a small child also. And they've not had a good track record of movies. You know,
The
Tim Story
2005
movies, I've had some affection.
Yeah.
Got to meet him once and interview the director. Lovely guy. The movies are not slapping, especially that whole, you know, anyway.
The Silver Surfer. Oh,
Yeah.
no. Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then the
he
2015
tried.
Josh Trank one we did not talk about.
Eesh.
So-
I don't think I haven't watched. No, I didn't even watch that one.
I mean, you did, but it's just,
The
it
2015
just
with
wiped it out of your memory.
what's his name?
Michael B. Jordan
Yeah, I didn't
as
watch it. I
Johnny
don't remember
Storm.
watching it.
Yeah. You've blocked it
Probably
out of your
slept
memory.
through. I probably slept through it.
Probably.
Maybe I was on the couch. That's how bad.
Yeah. Like with Clark and Lois, the central relationship in the Fantastic Four from comics and every media has always been Reed and Sue. Richards, Sue Storm, or Sue Richards Storm. I think she's become Richards, but sometimes still called Sue Storm. You know what it is when
Celebrity.
you're a celebrity and you double barrel, keep your maiden name. But just say Mr. and Mrs. Richards. Their relationship is at the heart of this movie, and then a blessing arrived in their life that makes it even more an expansion of the family they already have, because the Fantastic Four are a family. Reed and Sue are husband and wife. Johnny is Sue's kid brother. Ben is Reed's best friend, and kind of the bigger brother figure to the other two. So what happens at the start?
So the beginning of the movie, you see Reed looking for he's looking for a certain spray.
I think anodyne is the American
Anodyne or
thing
something
where
for
it like,
his, for his
helps you
sprained arm. I'm not surprised he stretched out his arm so
Yeah,
much.
overstretched arm.
To stretch. So meanwhile, he's looking for that. Sue has then got a pregnancy test in her hand, waiting in the toilet, sitting down, waiting in anticipation. And then she shares the news. They go together, come together, and she shows him the test.
And no surprise,
having a baby.
a fantastic baby. Yeah. As you may have seen in the trailer, it's Ben Grimm, the Thing, who susses it and goes, "Are you pregnant?" He's not shallow, old Ben. He's not shallow at all. He knows what time it is. It's clobbering time. I see what I did there. He knows what time it is. Clobbering time. I'm here all week.
But what gave it away, I think, I like the line in that dinner session, you know, when they're going for the meal, that Johnny said, late, well, late for dinner, because her fate also gave it away to Storm.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
because of the body language, the facial expressions, Ben was like,
twigged, yeah, you're
I'm
late.
late.
So
Yes,
I think
I love
what's important about the opening scene, I was a bit weird, like, wow, you're opening a movie about a pregnancy test and it's a big Marvel superhero movie.
but you can understand
That's
why
different.
now. You can understand why, because baby Franklin, obviously, his role is a very important part in that whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
and not just this movie, but the whole MCU moving forward for the next few films. So obviously he's the first steps they allude to, but in terms of from the relationship side matter, Sue says something like to Reed, he's more anxious than she is, that nothing's going to change, boo. You obviously ain't had a kid. You obviously haven't had a kid yet because your first one.
First one. When you have your first kid, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Not in a bad way, but it's like when you go from having no child to having a child, you have no idea. Do you remember when we had our child?
It's like world
changes everything.
It changes everything.
Literally,
you're
I can never forget sitting on the bed. I think you nipped out to get a camera or something, because this one here, you just want to take loads of pictures of the baby.
Naturally.
I think he even went uptown, didn't you, central London. And then I sit on the bed, holding our daughter in my hand. I looked down on her and I was like, wow. I'm responsible for this child. It's not about me now, not just about you, but about someone else.
How did that happen?
I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
She's going to look to me to look after her, to clothe her, to bathe her, to change her up, to do everything.
Yeah.
She's relying on me for everything. Nothing can be done without me helping her.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what a change. So can you imagine for them that in their world, that's even worse?
Well, and I think in the movie, again, these are spoilers, Reed is wondering if the child's going to have superpowers like because they got zapped by cosmic rays and transformed. And he's obsessed with finding out, because for him, he needs to know everything to be able to have a sense of control. So he's obsessed with finding out. She's like, no, let it be. And that's like a metaphor in real life when you become a parent, that you are worried about your child, because from the moment that child is a reality, you're never not worrying about that child's future. Or if not worried, concerned, wondering what they're going to look like, what they're going to be, how they're going to make, are we going to mess it up? Will I drop him or her? All those things. And I think there's a lot of change that happens in the movie. There's big elemental changes with Galactus, but it's beautifully mirrored thematically by the idea that when a baby comes into your life, it does turn things upside down, mostly for the better, but still as a tornado.
Yeah, because they're having to go into your routine. Do you know what I mean? They have to work around you.
You have to make it work around you.
Yeah, but I think the more kids you have, the easier it will be anyway. I think for your first, like them, it was their first child. So that would be hard to navigate. But once you have your second, once you have your third, you're used to this game because you've done it before. You're experienced. You're a pro. You know what you're doing.
So if you don't have kids, you're together, but you're going to have kids, do be prepared. Your life will change, mostly for the better, but it will change. It's a blessing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had any, and we wouldn't have gone round more than once. So it's a blessing. But the idea, you know, don't be a Sue. Nothing's going to change, because later in the movie,
No,
she's
it
like
does
saying
change.
everything's changing, and Reed has to then reassure her, which happens in a relationship, that you sometimes one wobbles and one is strong, then the strong one wobbles and the weaker one is strong. These are two. A second scene that I think I really was impacted by this scene because the acting was top notch, and I really felt it. It's when. Do you want to say what the scene was?
Yeah, so this next scene is a scene where Sue says to Reed, "You hurts me."
Ow.
I was like, oh,
Daggers.
like, wow,
Essentially,
crazy.
what happens is Reed's problem in the comics and the movies is that he has to solve everything. And they've been given a opportunity to save the whole planet if they make a choice that is very personal and almost impossible to make, which you can probably guess. I don't want to spoil it too much, but you can read between the lines. And Sue gives him a look like, you thought about it, didn't you? And he was like, yeah, but I didn't say it, but you thought about it. You had that look in your eye. And I think that's where being intimate on that level, you kind of know each other, you suss each other. It's very difficult to pull the wool over each other's eyes if you've been together that long and you're that intimate. And the problem is that being who you are, the worst of you can hurt the one you love. That is a problem. Sometimes in our relationship where I have been very idealistic and I've been very frustrated and upset when things haven't gone a certain way, and I've like really been taken out on my wife in a sense of like, oh, you know, we need to be this, and you why don't you get with a program, yada yada yada. Being me has hurt her.
Yeah,
And that's
because
difficult.
you are a little bit like, though, in the sense of like, you're the visionary. You see where our family is going as the CEO of the house. You're visionary, naturally. I'm just more practical and thinking of here and now. You're more like seeing down the line, you know, seeing years, and you know what we are capable of doing as a family.
Solving everything.
You know, everything. And that's why sometimes you get aggravated if things get done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a supportive wife, man. She just says all the right things on camera.
I do say the right thing off camera as well.
How positive and complimentary you are on tape. It's interesting because the way Sue put it, and I think we can both relate, where the ways we've been to each other in a relationship, when we don't address our stuff, our insecurities, our fears, our traumas, our challenges, the person who's going to be getting the brunt of that is the closest person to us in a relationship. So even if we don't mean to hurt the other person, if we've got unresolved stuff going on, we're not maybe talking to someone about it. We're not addressing those issues. We're not getting healing. We're inevitably going to poison the well that we both drink from. I mean, this is a heightened scenario, a choice that Reed was put in, but it is interesting because it is fundamental that it wasn't just a situation. The situation triggered it, but it was like, this is how the character operates. And Sue is like, this is a part of you that I don't love, because a part of me you don't love and parts of you that I don't particularly love.
Yeah, because you're not going to be, when you two people come together, you're not perfect. No one is perfect as a human anyway. You're not a perfect human being. No perfect human being out there. Does it exist? So when you come together with someone, you're going to have to deal with the good and the bad. And all there's stuff in that. It's either that you deal with it or you walk away.
Yeah.
Which is just giving up.
Bye-bye.
But they're going back to the scene, it's like him putting all the work in all the time. He's so obsessed with the codes and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And trying to
solve everything.
Obviously, he stays up all night, and they don't show that, but you can imagine.
Oh, no, they
stays
allude
up all
to it.
night, and
Yeah.
he's one of the smartest people, and he's trying to, I guess he's probably rubbing stuff out and doing it. Oh, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. But it's for a reason, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's trying to save the world, and obviously then he's going to have to, it's for Franklin as well, so.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's the balance between the person, the global weight and responsibility and the intimate one with his wife and immediate family. It's
But I
that
think as well,
being
it's
torn.
about setting those boundaries. What he didn't put in place is maybe setting those boundaries, like we would say in the modern world, like the work-life balance.
Mhm.
You know, how much time are you going to spend work, and how much time are you going to spend with your family?
It's difficult because that's where we're going to disagree as a woman and man. Because as a man, the
Yeah.
work is part of how we show love. We go to work, we show up, we have a vision, we have a plan. We're very like boop,
I understand that.
focused. And I think sometimes as the women, you are kind of like, you see things like you also want the emotional balance, you also want the me time, stuff like that. And I think that's where you might see it as unloving. I will push back against what Sue was saying, because she was making it sound like that's not love, but he shows love by wanting to take care of everything, wanting to solve everything.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
she
just
says,
had a bit. Really,
no, but I know, but even the fact that
Yeah.
obviously something about the baby we don't spoil too much
Yeah.
is part of the problem. And I don't think she totally she was in her protective mode and her
Yeah.
feelings, but I don't think she was considering his feelings, in that he shows his love through the way he thinks and through the way because that's he literally says he faces the worst things in life to try to calculate, like risk assessment, and calculate it so that he can solve it. You know, that's his burden. That's how he shows
But
love.
will always be the burden, because there's always going to be something that he's going to have to solve anyway, beyond what happens after.
Yeah, so maybe and I think she does, she just has to live with that's who he is. And she chose to marry him, and that her choosing, her the way she is. And I think that's an important thing, that I don't think you can change someone to stop hurting you being themselves. We're not talking about if you do something abusive, because I don't think that's what's implied in the movie, that they're abusive or one part's abusive, but things that someone fundamentally is that that can be hurtful to you. Maybe they're a little bit brash. Maybe they're a little bit blunt. Maybe they're not as considerate as you'd like. Those things might possibly never change. So do you not love that? You just have to maybe live with the fact that that person might hurt you from time to time.
Or you can maybe change the person. Try and change him. That doesn't work. Trying to change it.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, I think there was one time actually I tried to change you.
One time? Was it just the once, was it?
Oh, I think, I sort of insinuated it. That didn't go too well. Because you're like, no, because you're very strong-minded. You're like, I'm not going to be someone else who you want me to be. I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Shouldn't have married a Nigerian.
But yeah, going back to the topic.
Shouldn't have married a Nigerian then.
Well, maybe I should.
We're not known to be easily changed and influenced.
Well.
But we've got to move on swiftly, because it's a long video, to the third scene, which was one of my favourites, is Galactus. No longer a cloud. Think of the 2007 Rise of the Silver Surfer movie. The elemental force. And I think Galactus coming, the fact that it was mirrored to the coming of a new baby for Reed and Sue is not a coincidence. It's an external manifestation, a sort of an illustration of the world changing. Like when you have a baby, the world changes. And when he comes, the whole family have to pull together. Reed and Sue and Ben and Johnny. Everyone pulls together for baby Franklin and the world against this sort of supernatural, this super cosmic powerful entity, this force of not just nature, but the whole universe. And I think it does speak to the power of family. And I think that's something about that we found in a relationship, that we had family, but we may not have always had that nuclear family. That neither of us were raised with our biological parents, for example. And we had amazing surrogates in that. And some of us weren't raised with our siblings. So there was always the conventional family dynamics we never had fully. We had a sort of surrogate version, but not fully. And that was one of our determination, wasn't it? When we got married, we wanted to have a strong nuclear family of our own, with a mum and dad, with our children. They've never been raised outside of our care in our house. Very traditional in that way, trad in that way, because we really see the value of family.
Yeah, I think having our family makes me very proud, the mama of the family, your dad, and our kids. And
Mama
it's
bear,
like,
Papa bear,
we've kind of
cringe, as our
created a
teenager would
new
say,
part of our
super
family, because
cringe.
it's like we, as you said, we didn't grow up in a conventional way.
Mm.
My grandparents you adopted, so it was very, and then obviously other things have complicated as well. I won't go into, but it's just the strength of our family is really important. The community of a family to stick together, just like in the movies with Ben Grimm, the two uncles, and Johnny
Yeah.
Storm, and
We're going to be the
they got
best
really
uncles
serious.
ever. And
Yeah, it's just them like pulling together and during hardship, especially in a time within this scene where they have to face Galactus, keep him away. Like, obviously, the whole thing is to not let him destroy their world and to protect the people, and most importantly, to protect baby Franklin.
Yep,
You know, so they had to do
everything they
Can
could.
you imagine having to put one of our children?
Hey,
Oh,
remember
sorry,
she's an
spoiler,
end. She spoils
sorry.
everything.
No, sorry.
Forget Reed Soul
watched the
everything.
movie.
Jolling spoils everything,
Yeah.
movie-wise, that is.
I always do.
Just
I don't
movies.
know. So they had to endure together through hard times, and when we've had to, obviously not in this. This is
If I said
extreme.
Rocky Times, would you get the reference?
Yeah,
Rocky, the thing, rock, you know. Anyway, as you said.
Yeah, we've had to endure hard times.
Rock
like-
again.
We've had to endure hardship, like
Yeah.
finances and stuff like that. We got through it, pulling together. We've never asked our family for any money.
Certainly weren't fantastic times, I can tell you that
But
for
we've
sure.
always gotten through to the other side,
Yeah,
definitely by sticking together as a team, working it out.
yeah.
You know, not because of spending the money off, like what we said in the, obviously,
Galactus-sized issues that we
Yeah.
had to
that was sometimes part of it, but not all the
work
times.
through,
Yeah.
let's just say,
But
in some of our 21
we
years.
had to get through that through thick and thin. It was hard at
Mhm.
times. It was hard at times to get through stuff like hardship, but I can't imagine what that's like. That's a big heart. That's a big endurance.
Yeah,
together.
but it's exaggerated.
Like,
so, I
they
mean,
got powers.
Yeah, so I
it
think,
helps.
we ain't got superpowers. Maybe
Yeah,
our
that would be
superpower
good.
is longevity in marriage, especially in 2025 when most marriages don't last so long. But for yourself, like, just let you to kind of think about and meditate on that in your relationship. Like, is your relationship strong enough that you feel that you could not necessarily take on space gods who try to munch the world, but take on all sorts of hardship together? Do you have any history of that? Like, did you grow up with a solid family background and you saw your family weather different storms and are able to endure all seasons? Or are you a little bit intimidated thinking, oh, you know what? I never really saw that. I never saw a dad fight for my mum or mum fight with my dad to stay together. I didn't really grow up with them being together. The idea of this seems a bit too idyllic, but what we can say is that it isn't a fairy tale. In the movies, it's obviously an exaggerated threat, but we've been through real threats to our relationship harmony. And by the grace of God above, literally, we've gotten through it. And I believe you can too. But you've got to have that mindset, that determination that you are to the death. Because in the movie, they were going out as a family. They were like, whatever happens, we're going to face it as a family. It's in the trailer, Sue says that.
Absolutely.
And they did. And I think that's the ethos, a bit like with Lois being ride or die for Clark in Superman. The Fantastic Four, Reed, Sue, Ben and Johnny were ride or die for each other. Even baby Franklin, no spoilers. And we are, as a husband and wife, we've learned to be that for each other. And you've taught that to our kids who are now teenagers. And that's a good thing that you can take from that for your situation if you're in it already or you aspire to have a family, is that you need to kind of be knitted together on one track of one heart and mind, and you can face anything. Seriously, you can face anything and get to the other side.
There's like no holding back. Family is a very, very important thing for any community, no matter what they say in society. It strengthens a community, it strengthens the people within it. And family, like, if you think about family itself, you could do so much if you only just pull together as a family. You know how much you can accomplish and achieve.
Think of is it Don Tourette, in the Fast and Furious movies? Family, it's all about family. As soon as the Fantastic Four mentioned family, you see Don sharp in his car. Who said family? They're all up with Tyrese and stuff. Family, got to be about, it's all about family, family, family. So hopefully you got a family. If you are, you've got a loving one. And if not, and maybe you aspire to that, you can say there's nothing better than family, or a family that loves each other and works together, because there are other families. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, but when it's good, it's great.
Because if you think about it, some people's family, some people's friends are like their family. So,
But ain't that type of show. So, who knew? Did you think going to the movies on our rare date night would bring so much nuggets to our friend
I
watching?
don't know. I never knew that. I never would have thought that at all.
Yeah.
There's so much in there. In fact, we talked more than planned.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
All that extortionate
Nuggets.
ticket price for the bougie cinema was worth it,
It was
wasn't
worth it, Tony.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
We
For the
suffered
popcorn.
in
You
our
smelling
wallets
like
to enjoy a good movie and to give you that information. You know, thank us later. Tip us. It was expensive though, wasn't
It
it?
was. You enduring. I think it was during Superman. Someone's smelly food. Or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Right next to it.
Nacho
Superman?
and
I think
stuff.
it's
Yeah,
Superman.
yeah, on Nacho.
Because you're a bit
and
funny
stuff.
about stuff like that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like,
You know, popcorn for
He's very
me.
particular.
I would stop at popcorn in the cinema. Everything else is like, just go to a restaurant
They were hungry, Tony.
Yeah,
They didn't
eat
have
in
time
your
to eat.
house.
They probably didn't have time to eat.
or go to the restaurant afterwards. Don't have all like
It'd be
full-blown
too
meals.
late. It's too late to go to the restaurant
And
afterwards. Once
smelly
the film
food.
finishes, it's like, what, 2 hours in?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's true.
what, 10 o'clock or something?
Speaking of finishing, I think we got to wrap this up.
No.
So-
when it gets fun.
I've been T,
And I'm Jay.
and we are taking over the world, or taking over the world of love, relationships, and good vibes. One episode.
It's time.
That's my line.
No, it's mine.
Well, so this has been the Superman and Fantastic Four. See, let's put our hands together. Like this, you know.
Oh.
See, we can unite. We are representing the cinemascape. YouTube haters, you don't have to be either Team DC or Team Marvel. You can be united in harmony forever and ever. Amen. See the love. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.